and in honor of all that you guys have shared with us. So, in the beginning, when God created the heavens and earth, the earth was a formless wasteland, and darkness covered the abyss, while a mighty wind swept over the waters.
Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was Ann Davis. God saw how good Ann was, and God called the light Director. Thus evening came, and morning followed, and it was good.
The first day.
Then God said, "Let there be a place where you can be director, a time set apart where you can have rule over everything that is." And so it happened. God made a time called novitiate, and Anne smiled, and it was good.
The second day.
Then God said, "To rule over everything that is, you need novices." And so it happened. From all the corners of the earth, God drew novices. From the frozen countryside of Watertown, he pulled Sue Ann. From the Vidal Sassoon salons of Springfield, he pulled Melinda. From the birthplace of Rocky and freedom, he pulled Colleen. And from the place where everybody knows God vacations, he pulled Corinne. And so it happened. And then God realized that he needed a place to put the novices in Anne. So he created the Sisters of St. Joseph. But that's another story. So fast forward, and there were very gracious sisters at LaGrange. And so God pulled some strings and got a house from the novitiate, and Anne smiled and told the novices to write thank you notes. And it was good. The third day.
Then God said, "Now that you have been abandoned by your home congregations, Anne will show you the ropes." And so Anne did. First, she took the novices on a bus, and all of God's creation saw fit to talk to Sue Ann on public transportation. The other novices shook their heads, and Anne smiled. And then she introduced the novices to the L, and Corinne became giddy with excitement. She knew the orange line from her favorite movie, While You Were Sleeping. But sadly, Sandra Bullock did not show up on the L. And then Anne smiled, and the novices wrote another thank you note. And it was good.
The fourth day.
And then God said, "Take the novices to enjoy the beauty of my creation." And so Anne said, "I'll take them to the moon." The novices were very confused, as novices often are. And so Anne, being a true sister of St. Joseph, declared that all should be one. And so 3 novices were packed into the back seat of our compact car, a position that was reinforced all year long. And Anne smiled, and the novices did not think it was good. But they trusted her and went to the lake to see the moon. And there they looked out at all God's creation. And Melinda said, "Wow, isn't Chicago beautiful? It's huge." And the novices shook their heads, and Anne smiled and said, "That's Gary, Indiana." And it was funny. And then the group needed to find their way back home, and of course, they hit traffic. And Colleen, having already memorized the whole road map of Chicago, directed us safely home. And later that night, the novices gathered round Melinda, paid proper homage to her hair, and explained the difference between a gray Kia and a white minivan so that she would not get into the wrong car again. And so the days went on, the group grew closer, and Anne smiled, And the novices wrote many thank you notes, and it was good.
The fifth day.
Then God said, "Send the novices home for my son's birthday, and let them try to return in the midst of a polar vortex." And so they did. And then Anne said, "Let's go on a road trip." And so with 40 below temps and 10 feet of snow, the novices set out. They made pilgrimage from Carondelet to Concordia, and then in 3 weeks' time, they returned to the frozen streets of Archer Heights. And the novices said, "Let there be heat." And there was none. And God chuckled and said, "Let them be challenged." And no one smiled, except for Anne, but we're pretty sure she was faking it. And the waters flowed forth from the ceiling. And again, the gracious sisters at LaGrange offered us a room at the inn. From far, far came 3 wise men, a plumber, a carpenter, and an electrician, and their work was very good. And Anne smiled, and the novices wrote millions of thank you notes, and it was good.
The sixth day.
Thus the novitiate. All its works forming the novices was completed. Then God said, "Let them rest." But Anne said, "The work of formation is never done, God. Let them remember and assess all the good things they have done, the ICN classes, shopping at Aldi's, the ministries, $40 hams, CSSJ presenters, and Abe Lincoln's cabin." And God saw that it was good, and Anne smiled. And the novices wrote this story as a thank you to all that was and will be, and waved goodbye as they drove off in their white limousine with lots of space, Starbucks coffee for all, and it was very good. Amen.